In the heart of the Philippine Revolution, a young woman stood tall against colonial oppression. This is the story of Gregoria de Jesus, the mother of the Katipunan. Born on May 9, 1875 in Caloocan, Philippines, Gregoria's bravery and fortitude motivated countless individuals to strive for liberation from Spanish colonial control. Gregoria was born into a poor family, but her upbringing was rich with community, integrity, and resilience. These traits would guide her actions during the revolution. Her family raised her with a strong sense of duty and sacrifice, which greatly influenced her commitment to the cause of freedom. In 1892, Gregoria joined the Katipunan, a covert revolutionary organization founded by her husband, Andres Bonifacio. She demonstrated leadership and equality by engaging in combat and offering strategic advice, despite the male-dominated society of the era. Gregoria's personal sacrifices, including the loss of loved ones, showcased her unwavering dedication. Gregoria's sacrifices were immense. After Andres Bonifacio was killed by a rival faction, she faced immense grief, but remained steadfast in her commitment. She risked her life in battle, enduring physical and emotional hardships for the cause of independence. Her tenacity and resolve motivated numerous others to join the battle for Philippine independence. Gregoria's sacrifices were immense. After Andres Bonifacio was killed by a rival faction, she faced immense grief, but remained steadfast in her commitment. She risked her life in battle, enduring physical and emotional hardships for the cause of independence. Her tenacity and resolve motivated numerous others to join the battle for Philippine independence. Gregoria left a long-lasting legacy of bravery, leadership, and patriotism by continuing to support post-revolutionary attempts to rebuild the country after Spanish colonial rule ended. After the revolution, Gregoria continued to contribute to nation building. She advocated for social justice, education, and cultural preservation. Her efforts helped shape the future of the Philippines, inspiring unity and resilience among her compatriots. On May 9, 1875, Gregoria de Jesus was born in Caloocan, Philippines, into a poor family. Gregoria was born into a poor family, but her upbringing was rich with community, integrity, and resilience. These traits would guide her actions during the revolution. Her family raised her with a strong sense of duty and sacrifice, which greatly influenced her commitment to the cause of freedom. Her family raised her with a strong sense of community, integrity, and fortitude. These traits would eventually guide her activities during the Philippine Revolution. Although there aren't many specifics about her family, it's clear that Gregoria had a solid foundation based on Filipino customs and values from her early years. Her upbringing probably influenced her sense of obligation to her nation and her readiness to make sacrifices for the sake of others. Her home environment may have also influenced Gregoria's early understanding of the injustices committed by Spanish colonial control in the Philippines. This knowledge, along with her family's ideals, probably made her want to actively take part in the struggle for Philippine independence. Gregoria de Jesus became strong from her origins, even though her family was not wealthy or privileged. She became a powerful leader and symbol of resistance during a pivotal time in Philippine history. Gregoria de Jesus was well prepared for the difficulties she would face later in life, especially during the Philippine Revolution, thanks to her education and early experiences. Gregoria was born into a low-income household in Caloocan, Philippines, and, like many other Filipinos during the Spanish colonial era, she probably had limited access to formal schooling. She would have gained informal education from her family and community despite these constraints, picking up ideals and important skills that would help her in her future endeavors. Gregoria's early upbringing would have exposed her to the harsh reality of living under Spanish colonial authority. she would have been directly exposed to the oppression and exploitation that the Filipino people endure, which would have heightened her feelings of outrage and desire for change. Gregoria might have participated in a variety of community-based activities as she grew older, developing important leadership and organizing abilities. She would have gained perseverance, ingenuity, and a profound feeling of empathy for the suffering of her fellow Filipinos as a result of these early events. Furthermore, Gregoria's early exposure to the concepts of Filipino nationalism and independence would have greatly influenced her political consciousness. The writings and speeches of nationalist intellectuals like Andres Bonifacio and José Rizal would have probably had an impact on her, preparing her for a future role in the fight for Philippine independence. In conclusion, Gregoria de Jesus's upbringing and education gave her the groundwork she needed to play a significant role in the Philippine Revolution. She overcame obstacles by drawing on her natural fortitude and sense of patriotism, which helped her become a fearless leader and a champion of liberty and social justice. Her acute understanding of the social and political issues the Philippines was facing in the late 1800s ultimately spurred Gregoria de Jesus's involvement in the independence movement. Gregoria would have been exposed to the harsh reality of life under Spanish colonial control at a young age, having grown up in Caloocan, Philippines. Her community would have been greatly impacted by the harsh laws imposed by the colonial authority, which included forced labor, land confiscation, and unfair treatment of Filipinos. These policies would also have influenced her perception of the injustices that her people endured. The rising nationalist sentiment prevalent in the Philippines at the time would also have impacted Gregoria. The works and lectures of intellectuals and revolutionaries from the Philippines, like José Rizal and Marcelo H. del Pilar in particular, would have been essential in forming her political awareness and imparting a feeling of pride in her Filipino heritage. Furthermore, Gregoria's encounters with other Filipinos and her own experiences would have increased her awareness of the social and economic disparities that exist in Philippine society. As a woman from a lowly upbringing, she would have personally experienced the hardships that many Filipinos, especially those from underprivileged communities, endure. If Gregoria had been aware of these social and political challenges, it would have inspired her to act and join the growing nationalist movement in the Philippines. Her commitment to the cause of Philippine independence was demonstrated by her choice to join the Katipunan, a covert revolutionary organization tasked with toppling Spanish colonial rule. In conclusion, Gregoria de Jesus's understanding of the social and political issues the Philippines faced in the late 19th century greatly influenced her participation in the independence movement. Her strong sense of patriotism and unity, along with her profound awareness of the injustices her people endured, helped her rise to prominence in the Philippine Revolution. A pivotal moment in Gregoria de Jesus's life and her dedication to the cause of Philippine independence occurred when she chose to join the Katipunan. Established by Andres Bonifacio in 1892, the Katipunan, formerly called the Kataas-Taasang Kagalang-galangang Katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan, Supreme and Venerable Society of the Children of the Nation, was a covert revolutionary organization. It sought to bring Filipinos from all backgrounds together in the fight against Spanish colonial control. Before deciding to join the Katipunan, a number of factors inspired Gregoria. First off, she would have been open to the nationalistic and revolutionary ideas that the Katipunan promoted had she been aware of the social and political problems that the Philippines was facing in the late 1800s. The harsh practices of the Spanish colonial government and the burgeoning nationalist spirit that was sweeping the country likely spurred her participation in the struggle for Philippine independence. Second, her personal relationships heavily influenced Gregoria's decision to join the Katipunan. as the revolutionary actions of the Katipunan as the spouse of Andres Bonifacio, a founding member and commander of the group. Because of her intimate relationship with Bonifacio, she would have had direct knowledge of the Katipunan's goals and objectives, as well as the sacrifices necessary to attain them. At last, Gregoria's feeling of national obligation drove her to enlist in the Katipunan. Gregoria was prepared to give all up for the cause of Philippine independence despite the dangers involved, including the potential for incarceration or death at the hands of the Spanish government. Her decision to join the Katipunan demonstrated her bravery, tenacity, and unshakable dedication to her nation's liberation. In conclusion, Gregoria de Jesus's strong sense of duty and patriotism, her personal ties to the group, and her understanding of the injustices the Filipino people endured under Spanish colonial rule motivated her to join the Katipunan. Gregoria, a member of the Katipunan, made a lasting contribution to the history of her country by playing a pivotal part in the fight for Philippine independence. Gregoria de Jesus donated her abilities, commitment, and bravery to the revolutionary cause, and she was instrumental in the Katipunan's formation and operations. Gregoria was deeply involved in the inner workings of the Katipunan from the start as the wife of Andres Bonifacio, one of the organization's primary leaders. She was a great asset to her husband and other team members, frequently acting as a confidant and counselor on issues related to recruiting, logistics, and strategy. Helping to spread revolutionary literature and propaganda was one of Gregoria's main duties as a member of the Katipunan. Her contribution to the creation and dissemination of Katipunan materials, such as newsletters, booklets, and leaflets, that were used to inform and organize Filipinos throughout the archipelago, was significant. Gregoria also had a leading role in setting up covert conferences and get-togethers where strategies for revolution were deliberated and organized. Even though there was always a chance that Spanish authorities would find out, her attention to detail and organizational abilities were crucial in making sure that these covert operations ran smoothly. Gregoria was involved in the Katipunan's operations more overtly, in addition to her behind-the-scenes work. She frequently went on missions and trips with her husband and other Katipunan commanders, offering assistance and inspiration to the revolutionary forces on the ground. Gregoria's presence also functioned as a representation of fortitude and defiance in the face of difficulty. She disproved gender norms and prejudices as a woman actively engaged in the revolutionary movement, motivating other Filipinas to actively participate in the fight for independence. All things considered, Gregoria de Jesus played a complex and vital part in the Katipunan's administration and operations. Her commitment, ingenuity, and daring sustained the revolution's momentum and helped the Filipino people ultimately succeed in their pursuit of independence and self-determination. Gregoria de Jesus's participation in the Philippine Revolution and her services to the Katipunan were greatly aided by her connections with important revolutionary individuals, especially her husband, Andres Bonifacio. Gregoria had a close bond with Andres Bonifacio as his wife that went beyond their romantic relationship. They were companions in life as well as in revolution, with Gregoria giving Bonifacio constant support when he assumed head of the Katipunan. Mutual regard, trust, and a shared dedication to the cause of Philippine independence defined their partnership. Gregoria supported Bonifacio throughout the revolution's ups and downs, giving him advice, inspiration, and consolation when things were tough. Because of her intimate friendship with Bonifacio, Gregoria was also able to gain exclusive knowledge about the inner workings of the Katipunan. She was able to add her own viewpoints and thoughts to the revolutionary movement because she was aware of Bonifacio and other leaders' private conversations and decisions. Moreover, Gregoria and Bonifacio found inspiration and strength in each other's connection. Whether it was internal Katipunan disagreements or the prospect of Spanish repression, they relied on each other's bravery and tenacity to overcome obstacles. Gregoria and Bonifacio persisted in their dedication to the cause of Philippine independence in the face of adversity. Their collaboration served as a symbol of the Filipino people's tenacity and unity in the face of colonial persecution. In conclusion, Gregoria de Jesus shared common goals, mutual support, and a resolve to see the Philippines through to freedom with important revolutionary figures, especially Andres Bonifacio. Their relationship, crucial in shaping the direction of the Philippine Revolution, continues to inspire generations of Filipinos. Throughout the Philippine Revolution, Gregoria de Jesus took part in revolutionary actions and conflicts with great courage, determination, and dedication to the cause of Philippine independence. Gregoria participated in the revolutionary struggle as a member of the Katipunan, organizing covert gatherings, spreading propaganda, and assisting the revolutionary forces. Her participation went beyond providing logistical support, though, as she took part in direct armed engagements with the Spanish colonial soldiers. Gregoria frequently displayed bravery and selflessness in her revolutionary endeavors. She put her life in danger on the front lines of the fight for independence by traveling on expeditions and military campaigns with her husband, Andres Bonifacio, and other Katipunan commanders. Gregoria's participation in the Tejeros Convention in March 1897 is one prominent instance of her engagement in combat. On this momentous occasion, which sought to resolve leadership conflicts within the Katipunan, Gregoria supported Bonifacio in the face of opposition from other groups. Gregoria stuck to her husband's goal for the revolution in the face of the chaos and carnage that followed. Moreover, Gregoria engaged in combat in ways other than traditional warfare. She also participated in unconventional warfare and guerrilla tactics, outwitting and outmaneuvering Spanish forces with her resourcefulness and understanding of the area. Gregoria's presence on the battlefield provided the Filipino warriors with inspiration and spirit throughout the revolution. Her bravery and fortitude in the face of peril lifted her allies' spirits and strengthened their resolve to triumph. In summation, Gregoria de Jesus's unrelenting bravery and dedication to the cause of Philippine independence were hallmarks of her participation in revolutionary actions and fights. Her military deeds solidified her reputation as one of the greatest heroes in Filipino history and were instrumental in the revolution's triumph. Gregoria de Jesus assumed significant leadership roles within the Katipunan, showcasing her capacity for proactive planning, strategic thinking, and unwavering commitment to the cause of Philippine independence. Gregoria's leadership inside the Katipunan was noteworthy, even though the revolutionary movement was predominantly male. She was vital in helping to plan the organization's events, give members direction and advice, and participate in the process of making strategic decisions. Gregoria's primary leadership duties included managing the Katipunan's communications and logistics. Assuring the effective distribution of revolutionary propaganda, she was instrumental in organizing the distribution of pamphlets, leaflets, and newsletters to inform and inspire Filipinos throughout the archipelago. Gregoria was also instrumental in planning and supervising the Katipunan members' covert meetings and get-togethers. Her ability to stay organized was crucial to the group's ability to continue operating covertly and keep its operations a secret from Spanish authorities. Gregoria's leadership in the Katipunan also included her participation in strategic planning and decision-making. Gregoria, as the spouse of Andres Bonifacio, a prominent Katipunan commander, deeply engaged in conversations on military tactics, recruitment methods, and other facets of the revolutionary fight. Despite the difficulties she encountered as a woman in a largely male organization, Gregoria was well liked and regarded for her leadership inside the Katipunan. Her efforts were important in keeping the revolution moving forward and in the ultimate triumph of the Filipino people over their aspirations for independence and self-determination. In conclusion, Gregoria de Jesus's organizational prowess, strategic vision, and unshakable dedication to the cause of Philippine independence were the hallmarks of her leadership responsibilities inside the Katipunan. Her involvement in the revolutionary movement helped to define its course and solidify her reputation as a significant figure in Filipino history. Gregoria de Jesus was a fervent supporter of women's involvement in the Philippine Revolution, fighting against gender norms and pushing for increased female participation in the fight for independence. Gregoria understood the vital contributions that women might make to the revolutionary cause, despite the prevalent social conventions that prohibited women from participating in political activities. She thought that women might contribute to the movement and increase its prospects of success because they had special abilities, viewpoints, and capabilities. Gregoria's support for women taking part in the revolution was based on social justice and egalitarian ideals. She maintained that women should be allowed to lend their skills and energies to the cause since, like men, they had a stake in the struggle for Philippine independence. Gregoria actively encouraged women's involvement in the revolution, challenging gender norms. She believed in social justice and equality, advocating for women's roles in leadership and combat. Her actions set a precedent, empowering future generations of Filipino women. She devoted her life to enabling women to take on leadership roles in the revolutionary cause, as well as those of organizers, fighters, and leaders. Gregoria also set a good example by acting and contributing in a way that showed women could be equally as important to the revolution as men could. As Andres Bonifacio's wife, she took part in revolutionary operations, traveled with her husband on missions, and served in a variety of positions to support the Katipunan. Gregoria was ahead of her time in advocating for women to take part in the revolution, which contributed to the dismantling of gender standards in Philippine society. Future generations of Filipino women were able to actively participate in political and social movements and claim their proper role in the fight for equality and freedom because of her efforts. In conclusion, Gregoria de Jesus's support of women's involvement in the Philippine Revolution stemmed from her beliefs in justice, equality, and female empowerment. Her attempts to encourage gender parity in the revolutionary movement played a crucial role in increasing the chances for women to support the cause of Philippine independence. Gregoria de Jesus used a variety of tactics in the struggle for Philippine independence, advancing the revolutionary cause with her bravery, creativity, and leadership abilities. Gregoria's participation in planning and directing revolutionary events was one of her main tactics. She was crucial in setting up covert meetings, spreading misinformation, and galvanizing support for the Katipunan throughout the Philippines. Her ability to plan things well was crucial to the revolutionary movement's continued success, in spite of the ongoing danger of being discovered by Spanish authorities. Gregoria also showed that she was prepared to take direct action in order to attain freedom by actively taking part in violent conflicts against Spanish colonial forces. She supported and encouraged the revolutionary forces on the battlefield by going on military missions with her husband, Andres Bonifacio, and other Katipunan commanders. Gregoria also made use of her standing in the Katipunan to push for broader women's participation in the revolutionary movement. Gregoria argued that women had a legitimate place in the struggle for Philippine independence and should have the opportunity to contribute their skills and energies to the cause, challenging conventional gender norms and prejudices. In addition, Gregoria used cunning and diplomacy to navigate the complicated terrain of the revolution. Throughout the revolution, Gregoria relied on her close bonds with Andres and fellow revolutionaries. Their mutual support and dedication provided strength during the darkest times. Her family and community's unwavering belief in her further fueled her resolve. Gregoria persevered in the face of hardship and maintained her resolve throughout her participation in the struggle for freedom. Her inventiveness, flexibility, and unwavering dedication to the cause of Philippine independence distinguished her tactics. She contributed significantly to the revolution's advancement and left a long-lasting mark on her country's history. As a woman in a movement led by men, Gregoria de Jesus faced several difficulties stemming from institutional impediments, gender biases, and cultural conventions. Gregoria's main obstacle was the widespread perception that women's roles were limited to the home and that they had few opportunities to participate in public or political life. During the Philippine Revolution, women often found themselves forced into supporting roles or completely excluded from the revolutionary movement. Gregoria consequently faced doubt and opposition from male colleagues who doubted her capacity to make a significant contribution to the revolution. Male colleagues questioned her leadership potential, competency, and suitability for positions in the Katipunan traditionally held by men. Gregoria also had to deal with social expectations that prioritized her as a wife and mother over her leadership abilities as a revolutionary. She had to manage intricate and frequently incompatible demands on her time and energy in order to reconcile her obligations to the revolution and her family. In addition, Gregoria faced gender-specific practical difficulties such as restricted training options, resource availability, and career growth prospects within the revolutionary movement. She had to overcome obstacles to training, education, and recognition, barriers that were frequently more severe for women in a culture where patriarchal structures and customs predominate. Gregoria persevered in her attempts to support the revolution in spite of these obstacles, exhibiting fortitude, tenacity, and inventiveness in the face of difficulty. She actively engaged in activities that went against conventional gender norms, fought against gender stereotypes, and promoted increased participation of women in the revolutionary battle. By doing this, Gregoria cleared the path for later Filipino women to question long-standing gender stereotypes in the country and claim their proper place in the struggle for independence. Her bravery and leadership have left a lasting legacy in the annals of history, inspiring women's empowerment movements in the Philippines and beyond. Gregoria de Jesus showed her unflinching dedication to the revolutionary struggle despite the personal sufferings and risks she faced by making substantial sacrifices for the cause of Philippine independence. Gregoria made one of her greatest sacrifices when members of a rival party put her husband Andres Bonifacio to death during a turbulent period in the Katipunan. After he passed away, Gregoria was left widowed, and the movement lost one of its most well-known leaders, which caused her to weep and feel hopeless about the future. Gregoria also experienced physical suffering and risks as a result of her active involvement in revolutionary actions. Knowing that Spanish colonial forces would one day capture, imprison, or kill her, she repeatedly put her life in danger. Gregoria did not let the personal perils she faced stop her from fighting for the Philippines' independence of the Philippines, even in the face of these risks. Moreover, Gregoria gave up her personal security and comfort in favor of the revolutionary cause. The revolution upended her normalcy and stability, causing her to suffer from deprivation, dislocation, and uncertainty. Gregoria never wavered in her commitment to the principles of justice, freedom, and the Filipino people's right to self-determination. Furthermore, Gregoria gave up chances for happiness and career success in order to fully commit to the cause of Philippine independence. She put the needs of the revolution and the well-being of her fellow citizens ahead of her personal goals and aspirations. All things considered, Gregoria de Jesus's sacrifices for the sake of Philippine independence are a testament to her bravery, selflessness, and commitment to the ideals of justice and freedom. Her willingness to suffer hardship and make personal sacrifices for the benefit of her country demonstrates her indomitable spirit and enduring reputation as one of the heroes of Filipino history. Gregoria de Jesus depended on her close friends and family throughout the Philippine Revolution to help her get through the difficulties of revolutionary life and keep up her dedication to the cause of freedom. Gregoria's marriage to Andres Bonifacio, a prominent Katipunan commander, was her primary source of strength and encouragement. Mutual trust, respect, and a common commitment to the revolutionary cause defined their collaboration. Gregoria and Bonifacio were each other's pillars of strength during the revolution, offering constant support, encouragement, and companionship in spite of the risks and uncertainties they faced. Apart from her association with Bonifacio, Gregoria fostered robust ties of companionship and unity with fellow revolutionaries in the Katipunan. She forged strong bonds of friendship and allegiance with those who shared her dedication to the cause of Philippine independence, depending on their companionship and support through trying times. Gregoria also profited from the help of her neighborhood and extended family, who offered her moral support, emotional support, and practical assistance. Her family's unwavering faith in her and their readiness to support her inspired and strengthened her to embark on the struggle for independence. Gregoria also received encouragement and support from other female revolutionaries actively engaged in the struggle. Gregoria found support and role models in these women who disobeyed social conventions and expectations to fight for independence, which strengthened her conviction that women's involvement in the revolution was crucial. All things considered, Gregoria de Jesus's close friendships and network of allies were extremely important in helping her get through the hardships of the Philippine Revolution. Gregoria found strength, solidarity, and encouragement in the relationships she built with people who shared her devotion to the cause of Philippine independence, whether through her partnership with Bonifacio, her friendships with other revolutionaries, or the support of her family and community. Gregoria de Jesus was active in the post-revolutionary era following the end of Spanish colonial control in the Philippines, helping to create the nation's future and influencing its course. Gregoria saw the start of a new age of Filipino autonomy and self-governance with the founding of the First Philippine Republic in 1899. Her commitment to the principles of freedom, democracy, and social justice that had spurred the revolution did not waver in the face of the difficulties and uncertainties that came with the country's independence. Following the Philippine-American War and the U.S. colonization of the Philippines, Gregoria turned her attention to fighting for the welfare and rights of her fellow citizens. She persisted in speaking out against oppression and injustice, utilizing her platform and power to support the independence and nationalism of the Filipino people. Gregoria also helped to ensure that future generations would remember the sacrifices made by those who fought for freedom by helping to preserve the memory and legacy of the Philippine Revolution. She took part in memorial services, imparted knowledge and perspectives to upcoming activists and historians, and helped preserve and archive revolutionary history. Gregoria maintained her optimism for her nation's future and her faith in the innate resiliency and power of the Filipino people in the face of obstacles and disappointments suffered by the young Philippine Republic. future generations of Filipinos working to create a brighter future for their country found inspiration in her unyielding belief in the principles of independence and democracy. In conclusion, Gregoria de Jesus continued to play a significant role in determining the future of her nation, fighting for the rights and well-being of her fellow Filipinos, and upholding the memory and traditions of the Philippine Revolution even after Spanish colonial rule ended. Her unshakable dedication to the ideals of freedom, democracy, and social justice defined her contributions to the post-revolutionary era, making an enduring impression on her country's history. After the end of Spanish colonial control and the establishment of the First Philippine Republic, Gregoria de Jesus continued to actively participate in post-revolutionary nation-building efforts. She gave her skills, experiences, and enthusiasm for her country's advancement to these endeavors. Gregoria's support of the welfare and rights of the Filipino people was one facet of her engagement in nation-building initiatives. She persisted in speaking out against inequality and injustices and promoting changes that would enhance the quality of life for regular Filipinos. Gregoria worked to address concerns including social welfare, education, and land reform, all of which were critical to the growth and prosperity of the newly independent Philippines, through publications, speeches, and grassroots organizing. In addition, Gregoria helped to foster harmony and peace among the Filipino people in the wake of the revolution and the Philippine-American War that followed. Regardless of geographic, racial, or ideological divisions, she tried to unite her compatriots and create a feeling of shared purpose because she understood how important national unity was to creating a strong and resilient nation. Gregoria also participated in campaigns to uphold and advance Filipino identity, culture, and legacy. She understood the value of encouraging pride in the history and cultural heritage of the Philippines and honoring the wide range of Filipino customs. Gregoria made a contribution to the endeavors to protect and advance Filipino cultural legacy for future generations, whether it was through her involvement in cultural events, her support of indigenous groups, or her advocacy for the preservation of historical monuments. Furthermore, Gregoria persisted in her support of women's emancipation and the acknowledgement of their contributions to Philippine society. She tried to guarantee that women had equal opportunity to engage in the political, economic, and social spheres of the nation because she thought that women were essential to the process of developing a nation. Gregoria de Jesus's dedication to the values of social justice, democracy, and national cohesion distinguished her engagement in post-revolutionary initiatives to forge a nation. She made a contribution to the continuous endeavor of creating a better, more affluent future for the people of the Philippines, whether by action, advocacy, or cultural promotion. Her legacy has motivated generations of Filipinos working towards their nation's freedom and self-determination. Gregoria de Jesus's valiant deeds, unshakable dedication to the cause of independence, and unwavering leadership left a deep legacy and enduring imprint on Philippine society and history. Gregoria's involvement in the Philippine Revolution, where she was a key organizer, leader, and supporter of Filipino rights, was one of her greatest achievements. Her valor in combat, her strategic insight, and her ceaseless attempts to rally support for the revolution served to inspire the Filipino people and advance the independence fight. Gregoria's support of women's involvement in the revolution also went against gender stereotypes and opened the door for later Filipino women to play prominent positions in society, politics, and public life. Numerous women were motivated by her example to stand up for their rights and to take center stage in the fight for liberty and equality. Furthermore, Gregoria's contributions to nation-building initiatives following the revolution influenced the course of Philippine society in the years that followed independence. Her support of social justice, education, and cultural preservation laid the foundation for initiatives aimed at creating a more prosperous, inclusive, and equal country. Furthermore, Gregoria's legacy is still honored and cherished in modern-day Philippine culture. Her memory is preserved, and her contributions to Philippine history are honored through monuments, memorials, and educational programs. Future Filipino generations might draw inspiration from her life narrative on the value of bravery, resiliency, and determination in the face of hardship. In conclusion, Gregoria de Jesus left behind a lasting legacy and had a significant impact on Philippine history and society. Her support of women's rights, her role in the Philippine Revolution, and her nation-building endeavors have shaped Filipino history and motivated successive generations of Filipinos to work towards a more equitable, wealthy, and better future. Gregoria de Jesus has received numerous honors and memorials for her vital roles in the Philippine Revolution, as well as her ongoing legacy as a freedom fighter and patriot. Among the accolades and distinctions she has received are monuments and statues. Around the Philippines, numerous monuments and statues honor Gregoria de Jesus. These memorials stand as symbols of her ongoing legacy and act as a reminder of her bravery and leadership during the revolution. Streets, parks, and structures. In honor of Gregoria de Jesus's contributions to Philippine history, a number of streets, parks, and structures bear her name. These open areas give people the chance to learn about her life and accomplishments and serve as a reminder of her influence on Philippine society. Celebrations and commemorative events. Every year, Gregoria de Jesus is honored, and her legacy is celebrated with a number of commemorative events and celebrations. These events, which frequently involve reenactments, talks, and cultural performances, highlight her significance in the Philippine Revolution and her ongoing influence on Filipino society. Educational initiatives. To teach students about Gregoria de Jesus's contributions to Philippine history, schools and other educational institutions all around the country include her tale in their curricula. Students have a greater understanding of the sacrifices made by Filipino patriots in the fight for independence by studying her life and accomplishments. Gregoria de Jesus has been the subject of literary, artistic, and cultural tributes. These include paintings, sculptures, and other artistic creations. Through these creative manifestations, her memory is preserved, and upcoming generations are encouraged to preserve the principles of liberty, bravery, and nationalism that she personified. All things considered, Gregoria de Jesus has received honors and tributes that are a testament to her lasting influence on Philippine history and her legacy as a woman who personifies bravery, resiliency, and resolve in the fight for justice and freedom. Numerous monuments and memorials honoring Gregoria de Jesus may be found all across the Philippines. These monuments are physical reminders of her role in the Philippine Revolution and her legacy as a freedom fighter and patriot. The birthplace of Gregoria de Jesus, Caloocan City, is home to a noteworthy memorial honoring her. As a source of pride for the neighborhood, this monument honors her bravery and leadership throughout the revolution. Gregoria de Jesus has another noteworthy memorial located in Manila, a historic city. This monument honors her efforts in the fight for Philippine independence, as well as her significance as a leading figure in the Katipunan. Gregoria de Jesus is also the name of a number of additional memorials and monuments that are dispersed throughout the Philippines. These honor her bravery and selflessness with monuments, plaques, and markers. All things considered, these monuments and tributes honoring Gregoria de Jesus's life serve as enduring reminders of her legacy and encourage upcoming Filipino generations to preserve the principles of liberty, bravery, and nationalism that she personified. For a number of strong reasons, Gregoria de Jesus' efforts are still important in the Philippines today. First of all, her support of women's involvement in the revolution and her rejection of conventional gender norms are still relevant in contemporary culture. Filipino women who are working for equality and empowerment in a variety of professions like politics, education, and public service find inspiration in Gregoria's bravery and tenacity. Second, Gregoria's sacrifices made during the revolution and her unshakable dedication to the cause of Philippine independence represent the resilient spirit of Filipino nationalism. Her example serves as a reminder to Filipinos of the value of preserving their national identity and upholding their legal rights in the face of outside dangers and obstacles. Thirdly, the memory of Gregoria serves as a reminder of how crucial Filipino solidarity and unity are to achieving shared objectives. Her initiatives to heal divisions and promote a sense of national identity serve as a reminder of how critical it is for the country to unite in order to confront common issues and achieve shared goals. Gregoria's contributions to post-revolutionary nation-building initiatives also highlight how difficult it will continue to be to create a Philippines that is more prosperous, inclusive, and egalitarian. Her support of cultural preservation, education, and social justice motivates ongoing initiatives to eliminate structural injustices and advance the welfare of all Filipinos. All things considered, Gregoria de Jesus' accomplishments are still important in the modern Philippines because they encourage and inspire people to preserve the freedom, bravery, and patriotism that she personified. Future generations working to create a better, more equitable, and more successful country will find inspiration in her legacy. Gregoria de Jesus is considered a key figure in Philippine history due to her outstanding involvement in the Philippine Revolution and her lasting legacy as a personification of bravery, tenacity, and patriotism. Gregoria was prominent in the revolutionary struggle as the wife of Andres Bonifacio, one of the Katipunan's major commanders. She took an active part in revolutionary activities, arranging covert gatherings, spreading false information, and lending assistance to the rebel forces. Gregoria played a pivotal role in the struggle against Spanish colonial power because of her leadership inside the Katipunan, her support for women's involvement in the revolution, and her unshakable dedication to the cause of Philippine independence. Gregoria's influence goes beyond what she did during the revolution. In the years following the revolution, she persisted in her support of social justice, education, and cultural preservation, helping to build the future of the Philippines and influencing national development initiatives. In the Philippines today, monuments, memorials, and commemorative activities honor Gregoria de Jesus as a holy person, celebrating her contributions to Philippine history. Her life encourages future generations to uphold the virtues of bravery, resiliency, and patriotism that she represented, and stands as a reminder of the sacrifices made by Filipino patriots in the fight for freedom and independence. In the modern Philippines, Gregoria de Jesus' importance and contributions continue to inspire all Filipinos striving to build a better, more equitable, and more affluent country. Gregoria de Jesus is considered a key figure in Philippine history due to her outstanding involvement in the Philippine Revolution and her lasting legacy as a personification of bravery, tenacity, and patriotism. Gregoria was prominent in the revolutionary struggle as the wife of Andres Bonifacio, one of the Katipunan's major commanders. She took an active part in revolutionary activities, arranging covert gatherings, spreading false information, and lending assistance to the rebel forces. Gregoria played a pivotal role in the struggle against Spanish colonial power because of her leadership inside the Katipunan, her support for women's involvement in the revolution, and her unshakable dedication to the cause of Philippine independence. Gregoria's influence goes beyond what she did during the revolution. In the years following the revolution, she persisted in her support of social justice, education, and cultural preservation, helping to build the future of the Philippines and influencing national development initiatives. In the Philippines today, monuments, memorials, and commemorative activities honor Gregoria de Jesus as a holy person, celebrating her contributions to Philippine history. Her life encourages future generations to uphold the virtues of bravery, resiliency, and patriotism that she represented, and stands as a reminder of the sacrifices made by Filipino patriots in the fight for freedom and independence. In the modern Philippines, Gregoria de Jesus's importance and contributions continue to inspire all Filipinos striving to build a better, more equitable, and more affluent country. The long-lasting influence and significance of Gregoria de Jesus in Philippine history are significant and wide-ranging, permanently altering the collective consciousness of the Filipino people. Gregoria, a pivotal figure in the Philippine Revolution, personified the bravery, tenacity, and patriotism that characterized the fight for freedom. Her unflinching dedication to the cause, in spite of the risks and sacrifices she had to make personally, is an inspiration to coming generations of Filipinos. Gregoria opened the way for greater gender equality in Philippine society by advocating for women to participate in the revolution and challenging established gender stereotypes. In the modern Philippines, her initiatives to uplift women and acknowledge their roles in the process of establishing the nation are still relevant, encouraging women to stand up for their rights and establish their status in society. Gregoria's influence goes beyond her participation in the revolution too. Her support of social justice, education, and cultural preservation laid the groundwork for initiatives aimed at creating a more prosperous, inclusive, and equal country. Her steadfast commitment to the principles of social justice, democracy, and freedom motivates Filipinos to continue working for their nation's betterment. Gregoria de Jesus is honored and remembered for her achievements all across the Philippines through monuments, memorials, and celebrations. By providing physical reminders of her bravery and leadership, these monuments make sure that her memory endures and inspires future generations. Gregoria de Jesus was not just a revolutionary, she was a symbol of unwavering dedication and courage. Her life's work laid the foundation for the Philippines' independence and set an enduring example of leadership and sacrifice. Her legacy reminds us of the power of resilience and the enduring fight for freedom and justice.